Welcome to Creepin' It Real. I am Judah. Let's talk about the 1994, or depending on how you look at it, 1995 sci-fi horror film known as Mosquito. There's a few things I want to talk about before we get into this trailer. First of all, the 94-95 discrepancy. This movie was supposed to get a theatrical release in 94, but something happened and some part of distributing or something or other had to file for bankruptcy, which stopped the movement, and it was not able to go to the cinema. Then it had a home release in 95. So there you have it. That's why we have the potential 94-95 discrepancies that you might find online. Why am I watching Mosquito? Well, let me tell you. I reviewed a movie called Moontrap a couple weeks ago, and one of the viewers reached out and left a comment which had some fun information in it. This comment was left to me by BradyCal61, as you can see right here. Let's check out this comment, and you will see why it is I chose Mosquito. This movie was made in Michigan. I got into the business shortly after this movie was shot, but before it was released. So a bunch of people that worked on this were telling me about Moontrap. Back then around Detroit, they shot a lot of film for car companies, like commercials and training films and corporate stuff. So there was a lot of equipment and film labs and editing facilities. There was access to that stuff because people wanted to move up or become a full-on movie maker. People got tired of shooting cars all the time and would work on low-budget movies if they wanted. Or kids trying to break into the business would work for free as a PA for experience or to make connections. Bruce Campbell was a Detroit guy and the FX crew was local. They worked with Bruce and Sam Raimi on Army of Darkness a few years later. That's a fun movie, by the way. They even made their own movie, Mosquito, in the mid-90s. Once you worked on a Detroit low-budget movie, you were sure to see a lot of familiar faces on every movie after that. So this is why I chose Mosquito. It seemed to fit well. I don't always have some kind of a list of what movie should I watch next. It's generally me just sitting down and seeing what YouTube suggests to me. But when people reach out and they drop names of movies, I want to check them out. And this seemed topical. It fits in kind of with the Moontrap. And Moontrap has done quite well, this review for me. Now, granted, in the greater realm of YouTube, it is quite minimal. But for me, the interaction and the views for Moontrap have been quite substantial. So thank you to everybody who watched that. Now, let's get on to this trailer. I don't have a lot of nitpicks, but believe me, they're there. But I actually enjoy this movie, and far more than Moontrap. The robots, as I mentioned in Moontrap, just weren't doing it for me. And the massive mosquitoes in this one, for some reason, was just hitting the spot for me, and I enjoyed this. The acting is bad. The writing is bad. The special effects are fantastic, in my personal opinion, for what they are. And it's just an overall good, fun, bad movie. Do not go into this expecting to see something fantastic. But if you enjoy those good, bad movies, this is for you. And it was for me. So let's check out this trailer. Let's have some fun with it.
From the producers of The Blob and Prince of Darkness.
Right off the bat, when I started watching this movie, and this is how it starts. Starts with a space scene. I was like, what the heck? I'm so confused. I expected this to be some kind of basically a film that takes place out in nature or something, because of it being about mosquitoes. So I was very confused by this, but I was also quite, not impressed, but I wasn't grossed out by the effects. This is a miniature being filled with forced perspective trickery. But I thought this intro and these spaceships was quite good for the time.
And the special effects wizards behind Evil Dead 3, Hard Target, and Batman Returns comes the science fiction film of the year. It came from another galaxy. It transformed one of Earth's smallest insects into.
Okay, there's a few things here I just wanted to touch on. When the spaceship crash lands on Earth, and the pilot is dead, and it shows the crashed spaceship, and so it shows the arm of this alien hanging outside. It was an arm that the hand had 3 fingers with suction cups on the end of them. And when I saw that, I was like, that looks so similar to me. And then my brain clicked, and I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the arm looks suspiciously similar to the aliens from War of the Worlds, the original War of the Worlds film. And I didn't know if that was supposed to be some kind of fun callback or not. And in my reading, I never saw anything in reference to this, but it definitely, the aliens from War of the Worlds, the original, just had 3 fingers, and they had like suction cup type things on the tips of their fingers. And that's how they represented the alien in this one. You never see a full body shot, just the arm. And then there was this really horrible computer graphic image of Mosquito landing on this arm and sucking the blood of this dead alien, which is what causes the transformation of these mosquitoes. Now, there were a few things, like they run into this place where there's like hundreds or thousands of mosquito eggs, and it was in the basement of somebody's house. I think the majority of us know that mosquitoes lay their eggs in water. So it really didn't make sense unless we're supposed to just assume that there was some kind of a water issue in the basement of this house and they laid these eggs. But in general, you would not find mosquito eggs in your basement. That is a nitpick I did have that scientifically did not work for me. But, this is about giant mosquitoes that apparently, from what scientists say, if a mosquito was that big, they wouldn't be able to fly or move or anything in general. So this whole thing, all of your disbelief needs to be chucked out the window right from the start. And I'm okay with that. Even though I love nitpicking on movies, I was okay with this, throwing that bit of information out the window and just enjoying this for the insanity that it is.
A bloodthirsty swarm of terror.
This right here, I enjoy the practical effects, the puppetry, the miniatures, all of it. This is the only time that I really felt the effects were lacking. When they would show the swarm of the mosquitoes, this was difficult for me. But it's for the time, there's no way to get around it. But yeah, the miniature, the stop motion, and the puppetry, I really liked this one right here. Just, I couldn't get past this.
Now, 5 people brought together by fate will confront their worst nightmares.
There is definitely something out there.
This trailer is trying to make it seem like the spaceship has way more to do with the story than it actually does. Legitimately, it's just like right at the beginning of the movie and nowhere else. Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers, all spoilers.
Aliens, and they're everywhere. And this guy's obviously been zapped.
Are you insinuating that my brother and I have done anything wrong?
Something is killing these people and sucking them dry of blood.
It's a mosquito, all right, I'm positive.
I ain't gonna lie. If something like that came flying at me, I'd be scared to death. I mean, I would freak out. There's no way I'd be sticking around to find out what that thing was. That's for sure.
Take a nap, pal.
AIDS, mosquito AIDS, hundreds of them, thousands of them.
See, this is what I was talking about. This is supposedly under some farmhouse. This is the basement. One, that's a massive, huge basement, but you wouldn't be finding those. And they definitely don't hang from things. They're laid in the water and they hatch in the water. Anyway.
Ain't life a bitch.
Honestly, as I was kind of watching this, I felt like this had a heavy homage to Night of the Living Dead. And even though obviously this has to do with insects and Night of the Living Dead with zombies, it just felt like there was this gathering of people who have to coexist because of their need to escape a creature. They get locked into a home and they have to defend themselves. Also, oddly enough, there's just one black guy that is somewhat leading the group, and there is a power struggle between the leadership. All of this you find in Night of the Living Dead. You also find it in this. It's not so horrible that you can just be like, oh, they're copying Night of the Living Dead. It's just the similarities are very strong.
Steve Dixon. Ron Ashton.
This scene right here, this really annoyed me. As you can see, they're in a home. They've boarded up all the windows, which, by the way, there are some boards that they use. They made me laugh so much because they definitely look like props. They don't look like, they're so cartoony, the boards that they put on the windows, because they look like boards that have been broken. But they were shaped in such a cartoony way. They didn't look anything like real boards that have been snapped in half. You have to watch it. There's none for me to point out right now, but they definitely look like they were just styrofoam that had been cut to look like they were boards that were snapped. They were so absurdly cartoony. Minor nitpick, but it just stuck out to me like a sore thumb. Now here, we have this stove. It's a gas stove. This mosquito breaks through the window. This woman has a hatchet in her hand that she has been using repeatedly to kill mosquitoes, knocking them out of the air. You know, whatever it takes, she's using this hatchet to kill these mosquitoes. Now, I'm not totally sure and don't completely understand what is going on, but it seems like this mosquito is potentially stuck in this window, like it can't pull itself through all the way. She runs over, she has this hatchet, she can easily just bust this thing right in the head. But no, so that they can have this flame on situation, they have this whole weird thing where she's bobbing and weaving to try to avoid the mosquito jabbing her, and she turns on the gas and then slaps the lighter button and it goes whoosh. But I'm like, why didn't you just, why did we just do this whole thing when you have this freaking hatchet in your hand that could have busted it in the head? Didn't make any sense to me, but they wanted a little bit more action and flames in the movie, so there you have it.
Rachel Louiselle.
Which, Rachel, she was supposed to be some like kind of DNR person for a campsite or some kind of, state park. And I got to tell you, she either slathers on the sunscreen, I don't know, PS 275,000 or something like that, but she was the whitest person in this movie. And for her to supposedly be somebody who's out in nature all the time, had not even a hint of sun on her skin at all. We're talking China doll white compared to everybody else. Kind of made me laugh.
Tim Lovelace. And Gunnar Hansen.
For those of you who know, or those of you who don't, Gunnar Hansen played the original Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So as I would say a callback to that, they give him a chainsaw to wield in this movie. The absurdity is I swear that the blade on that thing is like a 36-inch. It's massive. I would think you would be more of a danger of hurting other people than killing mosquitoes. The way he was wielding that thing around inside of a house, it was, oh my gosh, it was massive blade on that thing. But it was funny nonetheless, and a callback to his playing in that cult classic there.
Star of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay, there we go. I didn't know if they were going to mention that.
They will fight to survive and battle the...
Okay, interesting thing here that I read. you see this mosquito hatching. Apparently that alone was the most expensive shot, and it was stock photography. Most expensive shot throughout the whole movie. They had to spend $1,500 for the rights to use that. Just a little tidbit of fun information there. $1,500 for a shot of a mosquito crawling out of an egg.
Ultimate enemy.
I do, in a very, I don't know, weird kind of way, I do appreciate that logo. It is very 90s, but I kind of dig that. What do they call them? Roboscus, the thing from the mosquito. I do like that, them using that in the queue.
Man, the Late Show doesn't get any better than this.
Guys, let me take these off. It was a fun trash movie. I mean, that's all there is to it. There's nothing fantastic. There's nothing great about it, but it's exactly what I was hoping to see, and I got exactly that. Let me read some things to you that I'm getting off of Wikipedia. This movie did have several like working titles, or they needed to come through, some title changes and so forth. You can actually find some trailers where it still has like the original working title before it had to be changed to Mosquito. But from what I'm seeing here, the budget was $200,000, and this is unconfirmed. It says right here that there needs to be a check on this, but it says that it made close to $1 million back. It actually says $986,000. So that is quite close to $1 million. But there's a lot of fun information here. It says here, Mosquito, also known as Blood Fever, is a 1995 American science fiction horror film directed by Gary Jones. The film featured Gunnar Hansen, who portrayed character Leatherface in the 1974 horror film The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, along with Ron Ashton, lead guitarist for the band Stooges. The film earned a cult following since its release. Again, as I have discussed, cult following just means a bunch of weirdos who love this movie found each other and said, let's say that it's a classic. There's nothing wrong with that. Literally nothing wrong with that. In fact, some might say that my reviews are considered a cult classic between me and my coworkers. I'm just saying, you might want to jump on that train. Director Gary Jones originally planned the film to revolve around a group of criminals, beginning with a large bank heist and ending with a violent shootout. Dusk Till Dawn, anybody? But when did Dusk Till Dawn come out? Hang on. 1996. So Mosquitoes was ahead of Quentin Tarantino. But it was deemed too expensive. The script was subsequently rewritten by Tom Chaney, and the film's original title, Skeeters, which I love that name, Skeeters, upon learning that a film named Skeeters, which had a similar concept about killer mosquitoes, was already recently produced, the title was changed to Blood Fever. During post-production, the film was renamed Night Swarm. That's, if you might find trailers out there where it still says Night Swarm. Appearing as much in the April 1994 issue of Fangoria before its title was later finally changed to Mosquito. The film was shot entirely in Michigan near the city of Detroit. And actually, Detroit is not that far from me. I could easily do a day trip there and back. The effects of the film, Mosquitoes, were created through a mix of stop-motion animation and puppetry. Some shots, such as when the swarm of mosquitoes is shown to be converging on the farmhouse, were generated using traditional cell animation. Yeah. The mosquito that explodes when shot by Earl was a rubber puppet that contained the film crew's leftovers from lunch in order to simulate the insect's internal organs and fluids. The film's original effects artist, I love this, supposedly left the set during production to smoke a cigarette and never returned. I love that information. Little things like that just crack me up. I would love to know what was going on in this man's life. What was he experiencing? Were things on the production set so bad that he just felt like he needed to get out? Or did he have personal things going on? What was going on? I would love to hear the story behind that. I would definitely, like I've mentioned before, part of the fun of this stuff, of doing these reviews, is digging into these movies, which I generally wouldn't do. But because I'm doing a review, I want to add content for you, something that's going to, make this more exciting for you people. It forces me to read it. And I got to tell you, I really enjoy it. As you know, I like to go to IMDb and kind of give a balanced perspective of this movie, depending on where I land. Now, I definitely land somewhere in the middle. I'm not giving this a 10 out of 10, and I'm not giving it a 1 out of 10. But I'm somewhere there in the middle. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. This movie, like I said, you have to know what you're going into. It's garbage. It's a B movie, but it is a fun B movie. So if that's what you want, that is exactly what you're going to get. And it's fun. But let's look and see what some other people think about this movie. Wow, really love the movie. I remember watching it when I was younger, and it was a thriller. It was a joyride watching the film. It always reminded me of one of my favorite games called Mosquito Bite 2, which I would play on my PS3. I wonder how old this person is, all the time. The movie will always be a part of my childhood with the goofy visuals and concept. Mosquitoes are my favorite bugs, so my parents would get this movie from the library all the time. It's also why they bought me Mosquito Bite 2 on the PS3. I recently rewatched this movie, and it really took me back to my childhood. I do recommend both the movie and Mosquito Bite 2. That's super fun. I'm glad that this person has a nostalgia movie that he can go back to, or she, and enjoy this. And also, I'm going to have to just look up some. Let's do it right now. Here we go. I remember seeing reviews about this and how it's a really funky game. Oh, gosh. You have like weird scenarios where you have to land on people in different situations and suck their blood. Okay, I never got to play it, but that definitely seems like a very interesting and fun game. I remember that. Along with, does anybody remember Gitaroo Man? That was a fun, funky game. Anyway, Mosquito Bite. No, this is Mr. Mosquito. Now I'm confused. Honestly, I don't know if that's the same game now. Because right here on Reddit, we have somebody who's asking, I'm sure you guys can remember the gameplay, but does anybody have any images of it? I don't own a PS3 anymore, so I wanted to relive those years of my life. So they're calling it Mosquito Bite 2. So I don't know. That's all the information I'm finding on it. I literally am not finding any photos other than that Mr. Mosquito. And I'm not finding anything that explains whether it had an alternative name known as Mosquito Bite 2. Okay, anyway, that's going to be a mystery that you guys are going to have to investigate yourself. So that was a 10 out of 10. Let's see if we got anybody who gave it a 1 out of 10. Okay. This is from JRose1. I'm not sure why it's showing the same review 3 times in a row. This movie has to be the absolute worst movie of all time. I would contest that because there is a franchise of movies known as Terrifier that definitely fits in the worst movie ever made of all time. The plot is awful. The acting effects. No, you shut your damn mouth. These effects are not horrible. They are amazing. Anyway. And the setting are complete joke. No. I mean, the concept in general is absurd, but the setting, how is the setting? It was in some kind of like state park. How is that absurd? Rethink your argument. It's fine that you think this is the worst movie ever made, but just let's tamper this a little bit as far as the setting goes. I'll go with you as far as plot. I'll go with you as far as acting, but effects, no. And setting, no. The only reason that I actually sat through this movie is because I needed something to put me to sleep. It did the opposite. I was laughing at the serious acting so hard that I couldn't even think about sleeping. That sounds like a win to me. If I was watching a movie and I was dying laughing, that sounds like a win to me. I don't know. You may need to check yourself here, J. Rose 1. You may need to check yourself. Reprioritize, because it sounds like you had a good time and you may need to bump your score a little bit. I'm not saying you're giving it a 10 out of 10, but maybe a 3 or a 4 out of 10. I really think you need to rethink this. When did they do this? Back in 2002. Wow, that was a long time ago, guys. I am so old, and that is depressing when I think about it. So old. Anyway, that was it. That was Mosquito, 1994 and 95 sci-fi horror, depending on how you look at it. I enjoyed it. I give it a 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think? Please leave your comments below. Also, if you have any suggestions of movies that I should check out, I would love to do that. I love to interact with you, even if you disagree with me. If you want to give me a thumbs down, I fully support you in this decision, though I would ask that you please leave a reason why in the comments. There are some things I can change and some things I can't. If you dislike my lighting, I might be able to do something with that. I probably won't. If you dislike my face and voice, there's absolutely nothing I can do about that. And if you don't like my opinion, that's just too bad. That's what the internet is for, throwing out bad takes. And by golly, I have a lot of bad takes, and I'm going to let you all know about it. So we can either have fun with each other's bad takes, or we can get butthurt. And I would say it's going to be way more fun if we all just laugh together. Thanks for watching. This has been Creeping It Real, and I'll see you next time.